Hello, Trent Suing again. Hey, sorry, this time I'm chewing and I know I'm disgusting, but I'm just in the raw, just being real with you guys because you know what? The only way my story becomes true is if I'm only talking from my heart because I'm not capable of lying. And I'm talking so quick, I'm not stopping and thinking. That's because I'm talking from my heart and I'm not having to remember what I'm saying and realize every single thing I've said over and over and over again. I not only point out the positive and the negative, but I even welcome the negative to challenge me to prove that I'm wrong. Agreed? From the very start, I asked any psychologist out there, please, if you think what I'm saying is wrong, please, let's talk. Get a hold of me. I'll answer your question as long as you're looking for the positive and not trying to find negative. I'll answer every single question you have. I would love this. I'm sure you would really enjoy the conversation. And like I said before, any religious leader, I would love to do the same thing because I just want to spread love. That's it. That's it. I don't want to disprove anything about your religion or whatever. And realize I'm talking about all this at a very slow pace because I don't want people to start freaking out and start thinking what in the world's coming or whatever. Because I just want to help. That's all I want to do. If I truly am the first person on earth that is full spectrum consciousness that truly gets this, I truly want to do nothing but good. And I will not allow what I know go for bad. Period. I will not, because I am standing up for every single one of your gods, every single one of your beliefs. I am standing up for everything that is good in every single person's life. And I'm standing against every single thing that's bad in every single person's life. But I understand both sides. And I'm going to show you how to figure out the positive in all of it to where it cancels itself out and we end up with everything amazing. You might not think this is possible. Are you full spectrum consciousness? I am. And I don't mean that with arrogance. I'm just saying, people, please, what if the first Martian was standing in front of you and said, please come with me, I have answers for you. All this BS, drama, everything is going to go away. All I simply want to do is love you and give you the answers. Would you go with him? Yeah, you would go with them. Or if it was your God standing in front of you, yeah, you would go with them. I would want you to. As long as it's your real God, absolutely. All I'm saying is I know the one piece that's missing. And I don't want to stir up trouble, please. Realize this. I'm just wanting to share my story and tell it and make it entertaining. Just so that I can be able to tell my story so that I don't offend anybody. You do realize that's what's going on right now, right? I mean, surely by now you've started to figure out how powerful this is and how much good, because it will not do any negative. I guarantee you that. I will cease to exist before I will allow what I know to do any negative. I promise you that. I have nothing but good. I just want to support your guys' God or whatever it may be. I want to just love you all. If you don't love me back, I'm okay with that. I understand. People, really, let's please pay attention. And by the way, without going from what you have been taught in your memory, what would the Martian look like? Serious wake-up check. What would it look like? How do you know How do you know it wouldn't look like me? I'm not saying I'm a Martian, people. I'm a dad. I'm a grandpa. I'm a loser. I'm everything that everybody out there is. A little bit of me is exactly like every single one of you. And I'm not saying that trying to imply that I'm something to be worshipped or anything. I'm just saying it. You got one guy in the entire world that the first time understands everything and just wants to help everybody on worldwide coverage, talking to everybody in the world, telling everybody in the world, I love you, I don't disagree, I know everything that you think is good is good. There's just one little part about it that you're just missing. No big deal. You still believe everything you want to believe. I can't change that. I don't want to. I just want to help and love you. Now, all of the people that have ever been in my life, my conscious life, that have ever thought they cared about me the least bit, or even go as far as to say that they love me, how come I'm not hearing from you guys? I mean, how obvious can I make this to everybody? And don't worry, I'm not depressed by any means. I'm not going to do anything what you guys would think would be illegal, stupid. Well, you probably already think I'm stupid, but, I accept that. But I have zero ill intentions. If I was a Martian, right now is when I would be saying, trust me, I come in pure peace. I just want to be able to explain to the right people what's going on. And I know all of you are going to help me make contact with those right people. So, hey, nothing else if I am crazy or whatever. So at least they can decide. Because the smartest people in the world, whoever you are, please come talk to me. Let's have a great conversation. I'm not thinking I'm a genius. I'm just awake. If I seem frustrated, but I'm not. I'm just begging you guys, love yourself. Please, come on. Let's do this. Everything is going to get so much better. What you think doesn't exist, world peace, I know how you can find your world peace the exactly way you want it, as long as it has no negativity in it. And I don't even know you. But I love you. And I have no ill intentions. Think about every single movie you've had that stuck with you. I am mentioning something in every single memory you have that's important to you. Of everybody in the world. And it makes sense to you. So we will go viral over somebody that, my memory, I saw somebody posted something that they tell you, okay, watch this image or something, blink your eyes a bunch of times, and what do you see? You know what? I know what you guys think you see. Yeah. Hello. If that person doing that is showing you what your illusion has told you, that very big story that has been told, and I love the story, it just has one little thing that's off. Every bit of that story, somebody shows you that image in your head when you close your eyes and you're not scared, but yet something I have said to you has scared you? How is that possible? Or even more so, if I showed you that and that happened, would you wet your pants? Or would you try to worship me or something? I don't want that. No, you would think I was trying to pull something over on you. But yet, all of you that are very devout in your religion, how have you not stood up against that? When what I'm saying, you know, deep in your heart is true. Is that not almost like the biggest form of blasphemy? Pure truth, sir. You guys know it. You know it can't be disproven. You know everything what I'm saying is positive. There's just that one little piece. And the only reason why I know it is because I'm awake. You have a human in 2023 that has fully exposed himself intentionally, even to the fact of looking like an idiot on here, which some of you might think. I don't judge myself. I love myself. You know what? I look at myself in the TV when I'm talking. When I look off to the side, I'm not reading a script. I'm looking off to the side because I'm being intimate with myself. I'm becoming one in my thoughts because I know how important it is, exactly how I explain this to you guys, and how crucial it is that I have zero self-motivation to do this, and how important it is I have zero motivation or negative intentions, and that I'm only pointing out the positive in everything. Everything I've told you guys is true. Watch the gas gauge now. Watch and see what it does. It's going to really tell you the state of the world. Just simply by watching how many people have liked or disliked my videos and how many people have subscribed. And those of you who want nothing to do with it, I love you too. I understand. And those of you that are frothing at the bit, about ready to wet your pants, trust me, it's all good. It's all positive. It's none of this hurts. None of this is a pain. I'm not Jim, whatever his name was, wanting you to drink Kool-Aid. No, I'm not going to ask you to do anything other than simply just love yourself. That kind of is every single religion together, isn't it? Boy, I would hope so. If any religion that would tell you to not love yourself, not understand that you have your energy and your body as your God, well, surely every single religion believes that, because why in the world would you take someone's inner soul and make them fear it? But then let's think again. Let's be real. In life, what is the absolute number one thing we know that each one of us can relieve stress the quickest, recharge the quickest? Oh, it'll even help put us to sleep. And it has to do with that intimate word. In case there's any children, I'm not going to go any further with it. You know, oh, by the way, I guarantee you, and I'm not saying doing it, it's not my place to recommend or deny. I am not trying to say I'm the world's best parent, or, actually, so some people might see me as the world's worst parent just simply because I'm doing this now. And you guys know that's true. But if you want help understanding this story, what you have to do is go to the person that's most accepting of the positive and let them hear this story. And you know what? I bet you they're going to be running for the phone or something trying to get a hold of me, because they know what I'm saying is true and it's all good. How big of a statement is that? Let's make this fun. Pulling from my memory, I remember I heard about this kid. He must have been like 13 years old. My memory says he started with a penny or something. And he's like a 19-year-old millionaire or whatever. And you know what? I have a couple of his sweatshirts. And me, I'm picky on my sweatshirts. And honestly, his artwork, I love it because it's whoever's expression. But it's not even necessarily the type I'd normally wear. But no, actually, now I think about it, I think I bought 2 sweatshirts and 2 shirts. Because I believe in the good and what he's doing. In my heart, even if he doesn't know what he's doing, how powerful and how good it is, I recognize it. Sure, I recognize that there might be some people that think negatively towards what he's doing. He's actually, I believe, even admitted that why he's doing what he's doing isn't necessarily out of pure love for everybody and trying to spread all positivity. Actually, I think, if I remember correctly, he said something on YouTube or on national television or something that it was all about the numbers for him. Something to that effect. And, you know, whoever you are, you know who I'm talking to. I love you, man. We should talk. We should do something really, really fun together that spreads love and shows the world that you want to spread love just like I do. Or anybody who's famous out there that wants to spread love like I do. Hey, let's do something. Let's partner up. I guarantee you it's going to be the best decision you ever made because I will share things with you that nobody else can share with you. Imagine how amazing of a movie this would make. This story alone. A suspense. A love story. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be the most popular if it was called Trent Suing on how to solve all the problems of the world simply by loving yourself enough to listen. That wouldn't be very popular, probably. Nah, who want to even watch that? That's kind of sad. But if I'm thinking of my illusion. But remember, at one point I said this story was already on autopilot. It's already telling itself. And you know what's crazy? I know it's already done. Kind of like when I knew what you were going to see in your eyes. I know how this story ends. Please, I love you guys. Listen to me. Okay? I'm not some weird freak. I mean, if you watch the video I just posted, look at this human being talking to you, talking to the world, and this is now the second time I'm reaching out to you guys. I'm reaching out to the entire world. Whether it be China. China, hey, I love you guys. You know, I understand there's one little thing that just needs to be fixed. You know, I have been in your country quite a bit. I've met the locals. I love all of you. I know how you guys feel. I understand it. Your government has good intentions. There's just one thing that's off. Same as every government. Same as every politics. Same as every religion. Imagine this. But, you know, hey, if nobody wants to listen to my story, I respect that. Like I said all along, I can't force people to listen. And I can't wake people up who don't want to be awake. And literally that means no longer feel any pain, no longer have any negative thoughts. Granted, you know, a couple days ago, and even today, what I'm experiencing is in my consciousness, and those spiritual leaders out there that know consciousness, you'll want to take note on this. In my consciousness, I know I've basically processed every ounce of my memories and realized I worked in engineering. I've had businesses. I've worked in medical industry. I've been in combat. I've been all these things. Raised 3 girls. Hey, and those of you that think, oh, and a good chunk of time was by myself. Actually, at one point, um, somebody that I love, hold no hard feelings against, but wanted to, um, she wanted to, well, let's just say what it is. She wanted to have an affair from somebody that was a lot more important than I was. You know, she was an attorney. I was just the man building her mansion out off of Arboretum Road. You know, and I ended up signing over to her because I knew that this woman, the reason why I chose her is a stepmom. And I say that in my conscious mind, I don't blame her for anything she did to me because I always made a conscious decision to put up with anything because I loved my daughters. And I knew that this person also, I knew of all things as an attorney, she was non-confrontational. She wouldn't push the girls. She wouldn't do what most step parents make the mistake by doing, by trying to force them on the children. Because think about it, these children, imagine how much negativity when there's a divorce. Imagine how much negativity now their brains have been programmed with. We want to dog out each generation, and like this current generation, I my memory's pulling, we calling it like right of entitlement or something. Guess what? Every single one of you in that generation, I love you guys. I totally understand why it is. And no, you should not be judged negatively for it. Hey, when I was the production manager for a premier contractor here in town, and oh yeah, I've been trained in passive house building. I actually built one of the very first ones in Oregon, which is the world's most energy efficient way of building. I did a documentary in Pierce, Arizona on primitive Adobe home building, where I spent 8.5 months off the grid, doing it the old true primitive way, excavating the soil on the property, separating it out. I even used prickly pears, the polymer, all because I believed in all of the heritage of our Native Americans. And every ounce of Native American that's alive, I don't care how messed up you are, I love you guys. And I'm sorry for the history. I am. Hey, I've been in Bisbee. I've seen what's there. I've seen the abandoned gold mines. I've been in them. I even took my daughters in one. Oh, there's some amazing ones. Maybe after this story's over, maybe I might revisit some of them and let you guys experience what I experienced that helped me gain my consciousness. This is why I'm willing to share with every single one of you the wrongs I've done in my life. Is because I want you to learn from every single one of my mistakes, and I guarantee you every single one of you out there can learn from my mistakes. And I want nothing back in return, other simply to get you to love yourself enough to listen. Literally, there isn't a single person in the world that should be able to find anything wrong with what I'm saying. And if they do, distance yourself from them. That's the first negative you need to recognize. Now, in saying that, I'm not trying to cause any problems at home. I think all families have amazing things, and all families have some things that could use improvement. There isn't a single parent on this earth that did it exactly right. Sheesh. I guarantee I didn't. Well, I never spanked. To my daughters, I was really intense, but I guarantee you, if you look my daughters in the face and you ask them, has your dad ever lied to you? Unless somebody else has told them I have, I guarantee you, they're going to say no. And what saddens me is the first 8 years of their childhood, when they were being programmed by the person that ultimately ended up losing all parental rights. The reason why that happened was because she was programming them with such extreme negative energy towards me that the state even said she couldn't have any further contact with them. I'm talking, this is a human being that, oh, I lost, here we go. For all you fathers out there that have battled the struggle of, and mothers, I'm going to get you too, but the fathers have battled the struggle of child support. You know, actually, at one point, when my custody battle took off, I had a cabinet shop, and the person who left me, she took a huge sum of money from me, and she took every single ounce of possessions I owned, including my woodworking tools, my clothes, every ounce of everything. And this person didn't even work, didn't have anything when I moved her here. And she also took a very large sum of money out of my business account. Hey, it's my mistake. In my physical mind, I was an idiot. I didn't protect myself. I trusted, you know? And I'm not saying don't trust. Oh, please, please, please trust. Please trust in you. You and your God. That's where all the truth comes from. I can't tell you the truth. I can get you to find your truth, though. Anyway, so this was also back in the time when they started with if you fell behind in child support by, I think it was $2,400 or something like that, they took all your state licenses. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because everybody needs to know the reality of both sides and make your own conclusion on whether it's right or wrong. I'm not trying to influence you. I'm just trying to give you straight, honest truth. So she went in and she said that I was, it was some insane amount. She said I was working under a table and making like 35 or 350,000 or something like that per year under the table. Hey, and I respect the system on how it works and why it works the way it is. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying I agree with it or disagree with it. It is what it is. I am what I am. Anyway, so they had the rule that as soon as you fell behind, you know, that amount, they'd take all your licenses. Well, as a contractor at the time, boom, there went that license. Well, I was also a driver's license, a commercial driver's license. Boom, there went that at the same time. Because they set my child support extremely high, where I guarantee you very few of you listeners could probably even pay that with your whole salary in a year. That's what they said at. And I understand why, because they temporarily have to go off of what the other person says, because they don't know the truth. So you can't blame them. But here I am. There's no possible way. I mean, she took my entire business. She took every ounce of everything I own. Oh, she did leave me one shoe for my brand new pair of shoes, and she left it in the toilet. That's okay. You know, hey, what a great restart. How many of us know we got clothes we need to get rid of anyway? That's why, hey, that's the way I saw it. Oh, and by the way, the reason why she did all this was simply because 3 days after my middle daughter, and I love you, girl, my middle daughter was born. 3 days afterwards, best I can remember is this is how it exactly played out. I was working in a manufactured home, working my butt off because I was providing for everybody. You know, in my mind, I thought that as a good man, that was absolutely what I was supposed to do. Just like my father. Single income. He worked his tail off. He was a workaholic. Where'd I get that from? Thanks, Dad. And I mean that in a good way. But, so yeah, they yank all my licenses to where I'm not even supposed to drive. But my best friend from high school, back then I loved him and I still love him, even though we're not in contact. Believe it or not, Bobby, you brought me some of the most peace in my life. And this is a man that also joined the Marine Corps. And he came and saw me when I was stationed in North Carolina. Because, we were high school buddies. Now we're both in the Corps. Man, we're wanting to hang, I love this guy. This guy treated me better than anybody in my entire childhood. Because he simply just accepted me and he didn't ask anything from me. All he did was give me love. Good thing is, this man is doing really good. And in high school, most people didn't even acknowledge him. But he acknowledged me. And he always made me feel welcome. Now to me, that's an amazing friend. Hey, I hope that this doesn't bother you, Bobby, but this man also went through the same type of things with as he started off as a parent. And you know what? The best I know, he acted from his heart. And I never really saw him really even talk about the negative. Great thing is, he's a very successful man now. And all of you, excuse the term, I'm just playing. I don't mean to offend anybody. But all you country boys, you rednecks, you basketball fans, you any single thing that you enjoy doing that involves smoking or barbecue grilling, you want this one, because I know this man and he cares about the quality. He takes it to his heart, just like I do with my tattoos. His product is his art. How he raised his children is his art. He did all of it, and he still built a successful relation, or a success. Actually, I believe he has a successful relation. Man, I should have spent some more time around this man now that I think about it. What was I thinking? Anyway, so he comes to North Carolina, and I had just gotten married to the first woman I'd ever been married. And as you heard before, the one that the dearest woman in the world to me, at one point kind of disowned me. And I married this woman, only knew her 3 weeks. She got her citizenship. She was in the Marine Corps. She got her citizenship because of joining the Marine Corps. A lot of us don't realize, but we give other nationalities citizenships for serving in our military. Anyways, I'm not going to say what nationality she was. That doesn't matter. Because what race anybody is, what color their skin is, none of this matters. If you look at the positive. And why in the world would you spend your life looking at the negative first? As I've stated in the past, if you're always looking at the negative first and failing to recognize the positive, that is every single mental illness. Now realize what I'm saying. I'm conscious. So now I understand pretty much every single mental illness, and that is sounding mentally ill for me to even say that. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody who struggles from them. Trust me, if anything, I'm pulling for you. And I'm pulling for all you drug addicts. And I'm pulling for all you alcoholics. And I'm pulling for all you addicts of anything. Because I know there's actually a real quick, simple answer. And please, anybody who sees an addict, don't judge them. A person who uses Adderall, well, they can afford, and they are fortunate enough to have somebody that is caring about them enough to be able to use what a pharmaceutical industry is trying to make safer. And I believe everything's done with positive intentions, just a little negative attached to it. You know, so now the guy that's on the street that we call tweakers or meth heads or crack addicts or whatever, realize they're trying to be their own doctor. And the truth is, I bet you anything, the right amount, the right dosage of that chemical is exactly what they need. And I guarantee you there isn't a pharmaceutical company that would disagree with what I'm saying. And I have no experience in any of this stuff. So how do I know any of this stuff? Because I'm awake and all of it's perfectly clear. It really is. You guys should really start trying this stuff. It's kind of, I don't consider it fun, but you will. Oh, and one thing I need to assure you, do not try to persuade anybody else to feel the way you feel about the videos that I'm showing. Because like I said, this is entertainment purposes only. This is just my story using my... Anyway, negative will come. Do not do that, please. You don't know what you're doing. Do not do it. Do not talk to your kids about it. Now, if you decide you want to let your kids listen to one of these videos because they're all talking about love and all talking about good, they're going to understand it way better than you are. And the elderly are going to understand it way better than you are. And the religious leaders are going to understand it way better than you are. How can I possibly say that and know that? Because I know not a single person on earth can disprove what I'm saying. Imagine that. I'm just sitting here talking to a camera, telling you the most extreme things in the world you have ever heard, and it's all out of love for yourself. And if you care about yourself enough to listen exactly to what I'm saying or reach out or something, you are going to be why every single problem in the world is solved. That's simple. Who in the world could not want to possibly do that? Realize what I'm describing. Some of you would think of it as heaven. Some of you would think of it as Zen, euphoria, whatever. I know exactly what it is, and I know exactly what, as crazy as it sounds, is coming. I'm just simply reaching out to those of you that have thought you've been my friends. Stop and think. Have you actually been my friend, or have you had me in your life because I provided something for you that you wanted? Honestly, I want to be every single one of your friends. I do. I don't want anybody to hate me. I felt enough of that in my life. Remember my story? Oh, one other thing that's funny. That's, well, bear with me. Conscious, subconscious, you know, the two kind of work together. And yes, my conscious side is very still accessible to me. I mean, we're one. Think of that. I not only get to pull from every single memory I have in my brain, and the brain never forgets anything, I also now get a pull from what you might want to call your divine energy. And as crazy as it sounds, what you think are superheroes, well, we've had superheroes, what we would consider a superhero for beginning of time. Think of the person that can hold their breath underwater the longest. Well, none of us can, so would that not be considered a superhero? Is not the best athlete in the world kind of like a superhero? Is not the best scientist in the world kind of like a superhero? Hey, is not the best religious leader in your religion not kind of considered like a superhero? Oh, and speaking of that, I am uneducated in this regard, so bear with me, please. But because of my experience in Ukraine that you saw in that last video, And because of something that took place while I was sitting in an airport in Germany, waiting, Germany, love you guys too. By all means. Anyways, had a phone call with a gentleman that was from India. And when you hear this, man, you meant a lot to me. And, in the family that was on the, I don't know if I told you a story about the standing ovation kind of that I got on an airplane just because I was willing to give up my seat when two elderly couple, wasn't, because they said they got messed over on plenty of flights and they just so happened to have two seats. I hadn't slept. I gave up. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I told you guys about it. But that family actually happened to be from, best I can remember, from India too, with a small newborn baby who actually ended up coming to Oregon, of all things. And those of you who remember everything else very, very deep and spiritual that happened as soon as I started heading back from Ukraine. Anyways, where I was going with this, with India, I love you guys. I totally respect your religious beliefs, your heritage, all of it. Actually, my brain, from my memory, I can't pull from anything negative, even from you guys. Honestly, at one point, I was going to come see you guys and get, when I became a tattoo artist, I noticed how much people considered tattooing ink therapy. And everybody was sharing with me the most negative experiences in their life. Everybody. I mean, all my clients know it. And I would just listen to them from the heart. And I would just tell them how I feel. And there's one individual, a man, that I am so incredibly proud of. A client of mine that, you know what? He did something that he's been wanting to do for 25 years. And he thinks him and I had a spiritual connection. This lovely man, as a tip, he wanted to give me a big tip. And I said, I don't, the money is a tip. To me, money is just a way of showing appreciation to another person for the energy they've put into it. And I said, no, keep your money. I said, do something for, if you feel I showed you grace, do something for me. The same in, exchange. You used to be a chef. Cook me something. That means way more to me than your money. Even though I'm not wealthy. Well, I am actually wealthy. Just not in the way you think. But anyway, so what did he do? He took it upon himself. The tip he wanted to give me was because my street appeal on my house and my studio, in my opinion, looked rather ghetto. Not judging the ghetto. I love you guys too. I want everybody to have more and have better. And I want everybody to be equal. I know a lot of you think that is absolutely impossible. Well, then think back to your heaven. Whatever you consider heaven to be. Why would anybody in the world think that we can't work towards that? History? It was programmed from people in an illusion. I don't think I ever talked about the pyramids. And I love Egyptian. Shoot, I got a lot of Egyptian on my tattoos, and I kind of wonder if it's disrespectful. I hope it's not. I chose them because I respect the heritage that went into it, all the positive energy at that time. I mean, let's admit, they did things you guys don't even know how they did it. But think about this when it comes to pyramids of all over the world, and I guarantee you're going to start finding out that there's pyramids under pyramids if you haven't already found out. You're also going to find out that there were intelligent beings, maybe not as technologically advanced as us, but we have had intelligent beings all the way back to the point of hunter-gatherer days. They're starting to find that on Earth, now I'm sounding like freaking Martian, just pulling from my memories from every single movie, every single everything I've taught. That's the best way I can describe it. That I believe they're going to rewrite all of history, because I believe things are being discovered that had never been discovered before, that are proving that we were wrong. Look on Netflix, look everywhere. Everywhere showing it. We're even showing, as insane as it sounds and conspiracy theory as it sounds, we're even releasing government documents. They're out there for you to see that prove, as much as you can believe anything, that there are actually, this is going to set a lot of people off, that there are other beings besides human beings of intelligent form. So at this point, let's pull from something that all of you can probably relate to. Let's look at something like, I don't know, a cartoon that my memory might not be the right name or whatever. Something to the effect of, I think it's called like Rick and Morty, where they describe the most brilliant man in the universe, and they make him appear to be like this drunk, horrible grandfather and all this, and we all think this is hilarious. Wouldn't surprise me if it's one of the most popular cartoons of all. Now, think about it. That cartoon was written from somebody in an illusion that actually, to come up with all that stuff, I want to talk to you. I bet you we have some good conversations, because you're close. You're getting really close. And that's awesome. Stop and think about it. People, have you not heard before? Boy, you want to know what the future beholds? Watch sci-fi. Realize that's another human being that's pulling from everything from their memories. Nobody can create something that doesn't exist. They're pulling from their memories, using their soul, their heart, to figure out something, putting the energy, more energy into something, that one particular thing that nobody else in the world had put that much energy into it. That's why you consider a wow factor. That's why when you actually truly see my tattoos, you realize that, wow, they have something different than every single other tattoo. And I didn't even try to point out or try to brag on it. And you know why? Because I wanted to be the best I possibly could before I tried to say I could do something. I tried everything on myself. Here's something funny. Look at the palms of my hands. Let's see. So guess what, people? Palm tattoos don't stay. I'm telling you the 100% honest truth, and they hurt something fierce. But my arrogant butt decides I want to do everything on myself before I'm willing to do it on someone else, because if I'm going to screw up, I want it to hurt me, no one else. Realize that statement right there. It's the truth. I actually had someone recently, part of why, I'm shut down tattooing is because this younger gal started off absolute, I thought, this is going to be a cool person I'm going to want in my life. And I still love her, even though what she's trying to do is horrible. Even though I was perfectly clear and honest with her from the start, and she wasn't with me. And I designed a very elaborate dual dragon tattoo. I mean, this thing is gorgeous. And she originally wanted them just right here on the side of her face and on her neck. Well, she comes here for a design appointment and figuring everything out. And the whole time I'm talking to her out of love, just explain everything to her. She's absolutely loving it. She's like, at one point, as I'm talking to her, she actually kind of hit a meditative state, like almost unconscious. But anyway, I spent hours, like 8 hours, redesigning this tattoo because I wanted to give her a masterpiece. Because, you know, it's a gal that has some self-esteem issues, as we all do. And she shouldn't, because she's beautiful. But I wanted to give her the most amazing tattoo I possibly could, because I knew that it would be probably one of the last tattoos I'd be doing for a while. So I took all the time to design this, drew it from scratch, beautiful dragon. And if tattoo out there artist is hearing this and you happen to see my dragons, I ask you to please think twice about, you know, taking my stencil and duplicating the tattoo. You know, I'm not going to do anything about it. It's just not right. You know it. Anyway, so this person, dual dragons I was just going to do on her neck. Instead, I end up redesigning it, making it big, beautiful dragons that come like here, go up her neck, go onto the side of her face, and they're whispering in her ears. Bet you this design starts popping up on the internet. Remember who said it? Gorgeous chest piece, incorporates neck, everything. A lot of tattoo artists won't even touch, you know, the front of the throat where I was going to do, but I'll do anything someone wants. I'll give it my all, and I'll do everything not to fail. That's just who I am. I mean, watch the video from Ukraine. That's who I am. I've always been the one. I'm driving down the street. My girls can contest to this. I'm driving down the street, and if I see, I don't care who it is, anybody fighting, I'll stop right in the road, and I'll walk up, and I'll say some words that are intimidating enough to break up the fight. And they won't even know what's happened. And that was before I was conscious. I remember one time driving along, and I'm sure my girls remember this, or at least one of them, driving along, and I see on the side of the road this elderly lady getting drugged out of her car, pulled out. This is on Highway 99. Oh, I stopped quick. I run across through traffic. I'm going to put an end to this. And he happens to get her out of the car and take the car and speed off. So I talked to this elderly woman. How can I help you? How can I get you home? And she's like, I just need a ride. So I'm driving her to her house. And as we're approaching her house, she mentions that it was her son that was doing that. And I mean, this woman, she's like, I think she was like 80 plus years old. And she's concerned that I'm going to have negativity towards her son that just did this to her. Really, people, stop and recognize the good in the world. There is a tremendous amount of good in every single person in this world. Or if you can't find it, we can find it before it's too late. All we got to do is love. And it all starts with simply loving ourselves enough to admit that every single thing in our entire existence that has hurt us up to this point, we have at least the slightest bit to blame or accept responsibility for, because, and it's not our fault. I'm not blaming anybody, and anything horrible that's happened to anybody, I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong, and I wish I could have prevented it. But remember, every single thing we think, we remember, was all thought from the negative perspective first. If you don't understand that, please start the videos over again. I talk about it all the time. I'm talking about the same thing all the time. And all I'm doing is I'm progressively sharing more with you guys because I don't want to leave anybody in the dust because I love everybody. That's why people who are depressed or suicidal, that's the first people I wanted. The disabled, the elderly, people who don't have much time left. Because we all have one choice. I mean, literally, you in your life existence and what you know it as right now, everybody has one choice. Nobody can stop that. And that one choice is whether or not you cease to exist. Remember I talked about everybody hurting when somebody commits suicide, but so many people thinking negative and making it about them? That's the one way you cease to exist. If you choose to end your own life, you're the only one who knows whether or not you chose. Use an example. My mother was on dialysis, and she chose to go off dialysis. That's scary. I'm not against or for the things out there to end your pain and suffering. But I assure you, your God, whoever it is, however you believe or whatever, He doesn't want you to choose to end your life. You know, I know pain and suffering. Trust me. In Ukraine, I knew a lot of pain and suffering. I saw things that, I guarantee you, I saw things that none of you in the world can imagine. Because if you could, you would have been there instead of me. Or with me. And I know every single one of you in the world wants to do something to help the people who are dying, wants to do something to help the people that are being abused, that are battling addiction, that are lost, don't have religion or whatever. And I guarantee you, the only thing you can do for anybody to help them is to try to always see the positive first. That's such a beautiful thing. And to so many people, it's impossible. Why wouldn't you always want to see the positive first? It's not your fault. There isn't a medical scientist out there that can prove me wrong. And I bet you every single one of them will back me up. And I know nothing about this stuff. But the brain always, out of survival, looks at everything from the negative first. This is why you remember the negative better than the positive. All of these things. Oh, another thing, because I love everybody in the world so much, another thing I want you to understand is this is just from my illusion, my memory, and what I know now. And I'm sharing you something that I did when I wasn't even conscious. Somewhere in Europe or something, I heard a report that this man was able to get his son to actually start hearing, who was deaf. Didn't even have the parts. And what he was doing was he would go behind his son and catch him off, and snap his fingers right by his ears, kept doing it. And eventually his son was able to hear. So my daughter, not even going to say which one, but she was born with, they thought she was going to be deaf in one ear. It was horrible. Now let's stop and think about this, when it comes to the medical industry. And I love the medical industry, and you guys have done amazing work. You got some real amazing work coming, I guarantee you. But anyway, with my daughter that couldn't hear in her ear, I wasn't willing to do that. The way I felt about my daughters, the way I feel about every single one of you in the world, I proved it in the last video. I was willing to die out of love for you guys, every single one of you. And I'm not wanting to feel like a hero. By all means, when I got back from there, Nobody whatsoever made me feel like a hero at all. I mean, no party. Went to dinner the next day. I was so excited to see the man that's most important to me and his wife. And I had the woman that I've mentioned in the past that truly means everything to me, was next to me. And we had only been at dinner for, I don't know, like 10 minutes. And, realized I just got out of combat. I just had, multiple concussions. I mean, and all I wanted to do was be able to share just a little bit of what took place there. Because really, nobody there even knows my name. Because, God bless the Foreign Legion or wherever your God is or whatever. And God bless everybody on both sides. I love you all. I just know how this can stop and how good can come from this. And the crazy thing is, I know how whatever president in the world you think it is, the best president in the world, I know how whoever you think the worst president in the world can instantly become the best president ever recorded. I guarantee you. I hope someday him and I talk. Probably not going to be in person. And it's all out of love. Because I love him, I love everybody. I know that sounds insane. But so does finding the negative in everything first. I love you guys. Realize I have no clue who I'm even talking to. I'm staring at my ugly mug on a TV behind the camera, and the camera's on top of my laptop. Just pure from my heart to anybody who simply loves himself enough to listen. Well, like I said, I hope somebody important gets a hold of me, please. Let's talk. But I won't feed into the negative. And you can't disprove any single thing I've said. Period. I guarantee it. Love you guys. What time is it anyway? Wow. My time, it's 10:12 at night. And you know what? I want to talk to you guys until every problem in the world is ended. I know we can do it. I really do. Hey, and let me leave this thought that I remember from my illusion. I don't really even watch the news because all the negativity. I haven't had really TV since like 98. So everything I'm pulling from is just my consciousness and my brain. But I literally, if I didn't have to love my physical self enough to get sleep and force myself to keep eating, I literally want to talk to you guys about every ounce of everything. I have some amazing things, but I know I can't say them until you guys have caught up to me. And the reason why that is because I care about the person who's learning what I'm saying the slowest. Just as much as I care about the person who thinks they know more about this than I do. All us military men, you remember to never leave your buddies behind? No, we don't leave anybody behind when we're looking for the positive. Nobody. Because if somebody's weaker than you and you leave them behind because you feel they're pulling you down, you're part of the problem. We all have to love each other equally. Whether your religion, society feels it's good or feels it's bad. I mean, let's stop and think about it. Think about people who, I think now it's called Wiccan. Or back in the day, back in when we used to burn at the stake. A lot of those people now are called homeopathic doctors. You know, it's true. Look at what history has done. And realize every single thing. I don't know why I was lifting that up. Anyway, every single thing that I felt in my life before I was became conscious. You know the crazy thing is? It's happening again exactly the same way. Now that I'm conscious. And I'm simply talking to everybody in the world about how to love and find the positivity first. And all of a sudden, again, everybody's just running from me, acting like they don't want to hear it. Why is that? Guarantee nobody out there can say I've ever hurt them out of negative intentions. The only people that can ever say anything bad about me are because of the things somebody else told them about me. Every single one of you listening that knows me knows I treat you with care and respect because I love you. And that was before I was conscious. So why can't we all do this? I did it when I was unconscious, in essence. And now that I'm conscious and I realize how easy it is for everybody to let go of all their pain that they have been feeling, let me help, please. And I want nothing in return. I don't want to be worshipped or whatever. Trust me, once my story's over in May, I'll start all over again. One thing in my conscious mind I always said, kind of funny, I always said, the universe always provides me with enough because I was not a religious man. I actually almost was anti-religious before I became conscious. Because I had been hurt by religion. You know? I mean, no God in existence would want somebody that loves their God to cast guilt on anybody else. Because that would be wrong. Nobody has the right to judge anybody else. I think anybody within their religion, does their own religion say that it would be wrong to judge another person within your religion? Would that not be considered a sin? Well, yeah. Yeah, we're starting to get close to that one piece that I know is going to make a lot of people have negative thoughts towards me and realize I'm just saying, out of love, I'm just saying my truth, out of my consciousness, and people hate me already because they're afraid that I'm going to show the truth. I understand. I love you guys. You know, I hope by now people are at least somewhat concerned about my safety. I mean, I saw a movie. It happens to be, I never liked movies. I was not one that wanted to watch the same movie more than once because it was boring. ADHD, you know, and blah, blah, blah. Actually, looking back, I know why. It's because my brain had already absorbed those vibrations. So it was boring. That's why once you've seen one tattoo that's never been done before, it looks amazing. Looks really cool for some reason, even if you don't like the design but you think it looks cool. Well, that's because your brain has never received those vibrations before. Think, if you saw the same tattoo, first time you thought it was amazing, and then you saw 5 other people have the same tattoo, it's not going to be as amazing to you. Another clue of how the brain absorbs everything. Everything in your entire, what you consider your existence up to this point, your brain remembers those vibrations. Why do you think that, man, you could not see someone for 80 years? Instantly, you're going to recognize them. Because everything is vibrations. Truth of the matter. A blind person can know who's walking in a room. Some of the best martial arts in the world. Now stop and think about the best martial arts in the world. What do they all have in common? What do the best boxers in the world, what do the best athletes in the world have? They're all able to center themselves, which means they're all able to calm their mind to where they're connecting with, let's say, their God, their inner God, whatever that is to you. It's the truth. Every single person in this world knows that's true. If you don't, that's okay. And even if my story never ends up making sense to you, that's okay. Because as long as you don't choose to cease to exist, you're good to go too. Be a good human being. Love each other. Change your life. That is the one absolute thing you have control of in your entire existence. Is whether or not you choose to find the positive in everything. Oh, and happiness? Happiness comes and goes. It's temporary. In essence, think of happiness like the transition towards peace. Because, you're constantly working towards peace. Whatever your peace is, you're constantly trying to achieve that. All right. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing me being disgusting and chewing. And yes, I know it's a disgusting habit. And yes, funny thing about chewing tobacco. In my life, I have spent basically more money on chewing tobacco because I started when I was 12 years old. And I'm now 53. I could have bought and paid off a house at this point in my life with just the amount of money I spent on chew. Addictions are real, people. And we got to stop and think about it. We outlaw things left and right that aren't good for people. But yet, alcohol, I'm sure there isn't a person out there that couldn't agree that alcohol is one of the most dangerous drugs. People do some of the worst things. But yet, it funds a lot of good. You gotta find the positive. But why do we still support it? But yet, certain parts of the world think organic medicine, which I assure you it is medicine. Everybody knows it is, and it's natural. The only reason why you have a bad opinion on it is because somebody told you to have a bad opinion on it. And that somebody is also programmed to look at the negative first. If you start watching anything out there and start thinking this way, you're going to start seeing it in all the movies. You're going to start understanding it in every single thing. All the music, everything, saying what I'm talking about. Nobody's put it all together for you, and that's just what I'm doing. Do yourself a favor. By the way, someone very important to me, I asked to do this. And I had told the person, I said, if you want to know who I am, and this was right after I woke up, and this was the autistic person that goes by they, that means very much to me. that turned me on to this. And actually, I don't think I ever finished that story, but 5 hours the whole time I was talking about all these, like, what seemed insane knowings that I instantly had when I woke up after something that had been so, I thought, so horrible being done to me. And for 5 hours I talked to her, telling her all this stuff. And this sweetheart, what she did, didn't really say anything. Once I got done, she said, "Hey, is there something I can show you?" She didn't agree, really disagree. Such a sweet soul. Anyway, she says, "Can I show you something?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it was a cartoon called something like, it's on Netflix. Best I can remember, pulling from my brain. Midnight Gospel. And actually, I think Netflix has discontinued the series, which Netflix, I love you guys. You guys have brought me a lot of pleasure, and hey, I wish nothing negative towards you guys whatsoever, because I know the positive that you've been doing. But you might reconsider bringing that series back on. Talk to the writers. They're not fully conscious, but they're right there. There's just one piece that they're missing. And those writers, I want to talk to them. Oh, and by the way, it's going to sound crazy. The Matrix, the movie, everybody knows the movie Matrix. Do your own research. See what the writers of The Matrix said what the movie was about to them. I bet you're going to instantly recognize how I can see that way of thinking actually is approaching it from the negative. And I totally understand the battles you guys have had, and I think it's wrong. Nobody has the right to judge anybody. Nobody has the same illusion. How can you possibly do that? You don't know exactly what anybody else is thinking. Common sense, right? Anyway, best I can remember, that these writers wrote this about the struggles that transgender or all of the, and forgive me, you guys, I love you guys too, and you guys mean everything to me. I can't remember all the acronyms, but LBGT, all of them. And you know what? You guys, whatever you prefer to go by, I respect that. I mean, let's think about it. Every single one of you listeners out there, you did not choose your name. Somebody in their illusion that looks at negative things chose your name. That doesn't make it bad. It's just a fact. Period. Who has the right to say, as long as somebody's not doing something illegal, who has the right to say whether it's right or wrong? Only their own God that they believe in, because everybody else is judging them, and judging's bad. All over, judging's bad, period. I don't care what religion or whatever. We all need to find the good, find the positive. Worry about our own selves, because guess what? We're all messed up in one way or another. And every single listener out there agrees with that. One way or another, we all need to improve. Well, guess what? I know the jetpack to make us improve. All you got to do is listen to me and talk to me. And people that I've shared with in person and tried to show them love and explain love and this to them. You know what's interesting? All the people that were telling me how much they needed to talk to me, how depressed they were, how sad they were, how all the relationships, everything was horrible. Those were the first people I reached out to. I wanted to talk to because I wanted to help them. I thought they were the first people I could help. And like clockwork, they don't have time. They always have excuses why not to listen to me. And everything I'll say through messaging, they'll agree is absolutely positive how much better it made them feel after I said that. But yet they still won't sit down and talk with me. Nobody's sitting down and talking with me. Granted, clients haven't had a choice in the past. And all of those of you that have listened, you're in my hip pocket that understand where I'm coming from. Let's link up. Let's pull together. And I say again, anybody in the world that is full spectrum consciousness, contact me. Let's talk. And, I'm going to know instantly whether or not you are. You know I will. And hey, even if we have different levels of consciousness, one way or another, I don't care. I just want to pull together and try to figure out how to do the most good in the world. Let's stop and think about the one person, the people we feel have been the best people in the world, or at least in my illusion, my memory. Mother Teresa. She comes to heart. Oh, ironically, famous people that all my life I've had tremendous amount of respect for, that there is nothing in my memory I can find negative about them, are like Dolly Parton. Never met her. I don't really even know her life story. But everything in my heart tells me that's a good woman. I mean, even saying it makes me want to tear up. Because that's love. She has been popular enough, successful enough, she could be anything in this world she wants to be. And she's been a good human being. She's shown love. I cannot think of a single thing that I've heard that she's done. Now, going back in my illusion, I used to, in the early 90s, I was really into hardcore. I was really into country music at that time. And my absolute favorite country singer at that time was Garth Brooks. Because I felt like I connected with him. Every song he had, I could connect with. Now let's stop and think. What do a lot of people think when you play country music backwards? Well, you get your dog back, your wife back, This is exactly the same thing I'm talking about, people. The same stuff. But back in my illusion, before I was conscious, at one point I stopped listening to him. Because I don't even know if it's true. Through the gossip, through whatever, I didn't even take the time enough to find out the truth before I judged this man that I know nothing about. Really, how many of us know anything about anybody other than what other people tell us? But this man, I had heard that he had an affair on his wife or something. This is all memory. I don't know if it's accurate or not. And Garth, if you hear this, I love you, man. You gave me so much peace and comfort when really nothing else did, even when I was in combat. So I love you, brother. You've done good. And I'm not judging. I'm just talking about what I knew before I became conscious. I had heard that he had an affair or something. And I had heard that I think he had kids. Well, honestly, the reason why I held, I guess, something against him and stopped listening to his music was because I was feeling sorry for myself. That's a big one. I know every ounce of my existence that hurt me, in all actuality, it comes down to me simply feeling sorry for myself. That's a big one. That's huge. And that's the hardest piece as you go through the transition, is simply loving yourself enough to know that it's okay that everything up to this point you were feeling sorry for yourself, because that's the way your brain works. And everybody that hurt you, that's the way their brain was programmed, was from the negative first. And think about it, every argument that you've thought your own thoughts while the person's talking, you haven't even heard the argument. Please, every couple, every parent, every nurse, every doctor, let's just love, please. It's so much easier than you think. You don't even have to feel the pain of what all this negativity you've been carrying around in your past. You literally don't, because as soon as it comes into your mind, you look for anything positive and boom, it's gone out of your mind and you can move past that point. That is literally how I've become conscious. And I can teach anybody in the world how to do it without pain. Yeah, I've said a lot. And I back it all, and I guarantee you nobody in the world can prove that I'm not telling the truth. You can prove a lot of things from what you've been told or what you've been programmed to believe, but there's not one single human being that can prove that what I'm saying is not true. Something tells me tomorrow I'm going to share something with you that you guys have never seen before in your entire life. I'm not even going to tell you what you're seeing. I'm just going to tell you what I was doing when I recorded it with my thermal monocular. This is the one that I had in Ukraine and I hadn't gotten rid of because I didn't want to even deal with the negative energy, that all the pain that had been attached to it. It found something you guys are definitely going to want to see. And also, all you that have been listening up to this point, I love you. Even if you've liked or disliked or not subscribed. Remember I talked about going past light speed? Well, you're going to want to see this video. The few of you that have, it's kind of surprising how little of a response I've gotten out of it. I understand they're not conscious. Their brains are basically flat by the time I've shown it to them, because everything I say makes your brain question things. How is that possible? Because I'm conscious and you're not. Look at the movie this could make. Already. Many movies. And every single writer out there, I love you guys. Crazy thing is, I know your secret. This is going to be fun. I look forward to meeting everybody in the world. I love you. Good night.